I bet I can guess what most of you are thinking. You're thinking there's 6 of them. Then you did a little mental math. 6 speakers, roughly 10 minutes each. My gosh, this could take an hour. But I'd like to assure you that we did some coordinating and are collectively going to reflect on the chapters we have completed together and look forward to the chapters yet to come. Preceding all valued novels is the acknowledgement page. Our story is no different. We did not get where we are today alone. So to start, I'd like to speak for all of us in thanking everyone who has assisted us along the way. I'd like to thank the administrators, of which Mr. Roberts has the largest tide collection known to mankind. I'd like to thank Mrs. Hart, our class counselor, who has kindly been there for us for the last 7 years. We'd all like it if she follows to college, but I know that isn't practical. I'd like to thank Mrs. Long and Mrs. Rodriguez, who have worked tremendously hard to keep all of us informed about future opportunities and who have made us countless official transcripts. I'd like to thank all the wonderful coaches and club supervisors who have helped us discover our interests. I'd like to thank all the friends and family here tonight who have compassionately supported us all. And of course, I'd like to thank our enthusiastic, talented teachers who have motivated us to excel in our education. I'd like to thank Mr. Arnsmeyer, who made history fun with sea chanties and Calvin Coolidge, his stuffed animal shark. I'd like to thank Mrs. Pratt, who taught us about passion for water, chemistry, and beetles. I'd like to thank Madame Martin. Merci beaucoup pour m'avoir donné le cadeau inestimable de notre langue. And lastly, I'd like to thank Mr. Butler, who has introduced us to the grooviness of the universe. He has shown us how incredibly amazing and baffling math and science is. He has sparked most of my interests and shaped my career plans for the future. We will always be in debt to all of you who have made the chapters of our childhood what they are, and for that we are indescribably grateful.
What comes after the acknowledgements page? That's right, it's story time. 1, 2, 3. I could hear the counting in the distance as I frantically raced around the house of my best friend, Danny Dennis. I only had 17 seconds left to find a hiding place and claim victory once again. I may have only been 7 years old, but I was the proud, self-proclaimed hide-and-seek master of the universe, and my reputation was on the line. 9, 10, 11. I was running out of time. Then suddenly, I saw a door that I had never noticed before. I dashed through it and beheld what was probably the best hiding place I'd ever seen. 18, 19, 20. I laughed silently to myself. There was no way Danny would ever find me here. I wondered why no one had ever hidden here before. I sat in complete silence. After a long while, I heard footsteps come into the room. I looked up through the clear lid of my secret sanctuary to see the face of Danny's 14-year-old brother, Matthew Dennis, looking back at me. At first, he seemed confused to see me there. Then, as a mischievous smile slowly crept across his face, he reached his hand forward and pressed the on button. That's when I realized it was actually a bad idea to hide in a washing machine. I hope you all enjoyed one of the first really memorable chapters of my life, but at the very least, I hope you found it more humorous than Mrs. Dennis did. So what does this all mean? I promise I'm getting to that. As my old friend Shakespeare used to say, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players, or rather actors. So how can we all become great actors? Well, to be a successful actor, it's important to fill your repertoire with many different characters that you can play. Right now, we're all playing the character of high school graduate. As we continue through our stories, we'll each learn many other roles, like parent, grandparent, policeman, teacher, veteran, scientist, etc. But learning how to play new characters doesn't make you a better actor if you're constantly forgetting the old ones. My advice to all of you, put simply, is this: don't forget your lines. While some characters we learn to play may be similar, each one of you will play them differently than everybody else in the world. And it would be a horrible shame to have all that theatrical talent go to waste. It's your story, you're the star, and every character you play is a masterpiece. So don't ever forget your lines, even the lines for a character as silly as the hide-and-seek master of the universe.
all started in the same boat 4 years ago. Nervous, little freshmen, hoping not to get shoved in a locker on the first freshman Friday. Then we were all relieved to see that our lockers were only 6 inches wide, barely wide enough to squeeze in a backpack, let alone a scared freshman. Over the course of these 4 years, we've all completed one of the major chapters of our lives, high school. That being said, I hope all of you sitting here will cherish the fun memories had during our one and only high school experience, so several years down the road, you'll be able to look back and remember the great times we all shared together. Times such as when we managed to pull off a successful school-wide lip dub, or the annual spirit games that leaves everyone's ears ringing, and especially this year's spirit game when Mrs. Toba landed a backflip during the halftime skit. Another highlight was when Cheney was chosen as the most spirited school in the Northwest and got an interview at KXLY. Or times like when the windstorm swept through this area last fall, leaving most of us without power for almost a week. But an upshot of that was it gave us all 3 days off of school. I don't think any of those students were too upset about that. And there's nothing like listening to Willie Nelson in Mr. Butler's class while taking your functions on the road. We, the class of 2016, have established a reputation of being hardworking, high-spirited, and respectful to others. We have created an overall positive and friendly environment throughout Cheney High School, and we hope to leave that legacy to the incoming seniors behind us. It's because of these reasons that I feel very fortunate to be a part of the class of 2016.
Some of my favorite memories over the last 4 years are the memories we have made as a class. There were football tailgaters where Mr. Smith and Miss Arland made enough hot dogs to feed the entire school. End-of-year barbecues with water balloon fights where we walked to 5th period soaking wet. And dances where aching feet caused shoes to be stranded across the cafeteria floor. All of these have shaped our past 4 years together and have made this class what it is today. But probably the most memorable for me, and most likely some of you, is senior prom. Between the dancing, the royalty, and the chocolate fountain, I believe everyone will remember this special night as one of the most magical nights of this year. As we came to the end of our senior year, more memories have been made to celebrate us graduating. Starting with our senior goodbye assembly, where Mrs. Knight and Mrs. Esquivel sang to us. Then our cruise on Lake Coeur d'Alene, following which we waited ever so patiently for our pizza in the park. And finally, our breakfast this morning at Eastern, where we all got to eat together as a class for probably the last time as seniors. All were great ways to end our chapter as a class together. Tonight, here, and at the senior all-nighter, we will say the last goodbye for some of us, because we may not ever see these people again. But the memories we have made will stay with us forever, and will be the stories we tell our friends and family during the next amazing chapter of our lives.
Looking into the future, many people hope for nice cars, a job that makes lots of money, or maybe a field full of horses. Personally, I'm into mules. But what really matters in our futures? When you become an ancient great-grandparent, sitting on a porch swing, watching the world go by, what will your... Having lived in this world, you will have stories to share that will impact others. So my question is, what will your story be? What do you want to be able to say you did? Did you climb Mount Everest? Sail around the world? Fight for your country? Were you more behind the scenes, farming and ranching? Or were you teaching the next generation? Now is the time to think about our futures. As Master Oogway said in Kung Fu Panda, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present. Use your present, your gift, to create the mysteries of tomorrow. We all learn a little something from everyone we meet, and the simple act of encouraging someone to try a new activity could lead them to a lifelong passion, a passion that, without your help, they may never have found. My mother impacts the world by interrupting. One time at the airport, someone was considering adopting a child, and Mom jumped right into their conversation. You should, I have 2 and they're great. They would be my brother and sister. Seniors, we start our next chapter now. It is time to begin our trek, to begin wading through the river of life. There will be deep spots and there will be shallow spots. times we must move quickly, and times to slow down and enjoy the moment, like today and tomorrow with our family and friends. Now it is our time to grow into the image of the adults we admire. In doing so, we write our next chapter and get to choose how we will impact future generations.
Looking into this crowd, I recognize that there are many different stories composed from the experiences we have shared. These stories make up the chapters of our lives and form the memories that will be cherished forever. As we gather together as a class for the last time, I want to congratulate all of you on a job well done. We have made it through many years of hard work, and now have reached the end of our time together. We have said our goodbyes to our teachers and friends, and have walked out of the doors to Cheney High School as Blackhawks for the last time. My fellow classmates, we are now at the start of the next chapter. Each of us is living on the brink of new opportunities, exciting adventures, and many blank pages waiting to be filled with new stories. I encourage all of you to go boldly into this new story and embrace everything that is waiting for you in the chapters to come. This year, we have been encouraged by our administration to be all in, to give our full effort and seek the adventures that await us. And I can truly say that the seniors in front of you have been all in for everything that has occurred during this past year. It now gives me great pleasure to say that we, the Cheney High School Class of 2016, are all out. Thank you. Please join me in welcoming back the Cheney High School Concert Choir under the direction of Mrs. Annie Knight as they sing I Lived by Ryan Tedder and Noel Zancanella.